Hi, friends. This is just a quick reminder that this is a podcast and therefore not meant as individual medical advice. We do discuss our own medical experiences on the show, as well as supplements and other healthcare approaches. When we do that, please see the show notes for any additional information regarding these resources. And with any change to your healthcare routine, please do the appropriate amount of due diligence before making any changes. On with the show. Hello and welcome back to the 40 and Unfiltered Podcast. And I'm going to save everybody the alliterative riddle and whatever I had before and just say that we talk about all the things in detail, all of the things. So today I have other Lauren back with me.
Other Lauren.
Lauren Leparo has had her baby, so that's an update. I did talk to her for about 2 hours yesterday, and I got a lot of the story. So she'll definitely be back maybe in June to give us an update, but definitely to talk about her birthing center experience. So since now she's had the in the hospital experience with the epidural and then the no epidural birthing center experience and how everything's different. And as you guys know from previous episodes, she's not going to spare any of the details. So it's quite I was like crying, laughing at some point, and then just I just always feel so secure about my choices to not have kids when I hear.
I don't blame you.
But this is super exciting because we have Lauren O'Hanlon back, and we had her on before talking about you changed the phrasing a little bit now, the title.
Yes.
Remind me.
Yes. So alcohol freedom coach is certified life coach, but I like to emphasize in alcohol and helping people change their relationship with it.
Right. Okay. And yeah, because I think it was alcohol mindset coach before. So you
yes,
made that little switch. Okay.
Yes.
But there's so much more to Lauren. So we're going to dig into that today. And then I'm going to do some updates because my life has been just, that was a little thought I had too. I was like going through and like editing all the previous, masterpieces that we've created here. And I'm like, I'm thinking about renaming this podcast. Like, oh my God, what now?
That would be quite fitting.
Right.
What's next?
Yeah. It's just like, come on, are you serious? Like,
that's hilarious.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Maybe that should be it. Like,
yep.
It's going to be great.
I concur.
But we'll stick with this, I think. Okay.
Still do for now.
So give us a little bit of insight in who is the rest of Lauren, your family and everything else.
Yeah, so I am the mom of 2 boys. They're 6 and 7. Actually, they'll be 7 and 8 in less than a month, and which is crazy. And I met you as a bartender. So I was bartender for about 20 years.
Pivotal moment in your life story.
Oh, yes. And then I met you.
We met me before the babies, so
before pre-babies, pre-kids, pre-responsibility to pretty much anything other than showing up to the bar on time for work, usually.
Right.
But so yeah, just kind of bartended my way through my 20s and 30s, and then got out of the industry when I got pregnant with MJ, my oldest, and really just started noticing how alcohol was just so prevalent, like everywhere. It was it was like in my everyday everything, and then COVID hits and you have 2 little ones. And I first noticed that I couldn't do a dry January. It's like a lot of people in our industry, they're like, oh, I'm going to do dry January because of holiday parties and everything like that. And I just never really wanted to.
Right.
And it just did not sound
Sounds
appealing.
stupid.
Yeah. Like, you guys have fun. I'm going to have my wine every night. And,
Right.
but then I also didn't think that I'd be able to, you know, because like it was kind of just this thing that I thought that you were supposed to do as an adult, which is drink wine at night or, you know, have mimosas at breakfast if you're out with girlfriends or whatever. And, really just started realizing, started questioning and getting curious about why I couldn't do that and why I would use it to numb out, and just started hearing things that I couldn't unhear and understanding more about it. And truthfully, like that's why I'm a coach, is if I can quit and not even give it a thought in my mind, which is still mind blowing to me, then I want to be able to pay it forward to other people who, you know, might be stuck or just needing a change. Cause, you know, you don't have to quit forever. It's just sometimes we just want to scale back somewhere or, you know, moderate or quit
reset
forever.
the baseline. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's I'm just really passionate about it because I know that, you know, the methodology that I used and that I was trained in is, you know, it's different. It's like a 180 difference from AA and from rehab. And, you know, with those, you're just taking the behavior away. And with my methodology, which I was trained through This Naked Mind, it's focused on the emotion. It's focused on tapping into our subconscious and, you know, bringing those to the forefront and kind of, you know, dispelling how they false beliefs and false thoughts and things like that. So we're not just, you know, taking you away from alcohol for 30 days or however long. We are changing the way that you feel about it to where you can I can have a drink whenever I want. I just don't want one. Like, I do not want one. And, I just, like I said, I want to be able to pay it forward to other people who might feel stuck or who might just find that alcohol is really giving or taking more than it's giving.
Right. Yep. Yeah. There's so much. I mean, we talked about that a little bit last time. Just like, you know, so many people think that they just need to like white knuckle, like doing anything that's good for you, you know, is going to be miserable, needs to be miserable or whatever. And that, or that they should just be able to do it. And if they can't just do it, like they're a failure somehow or whatever. But it's just like, there's stories that people are like telling themselves, you know, about like the reality of it. And then also just there's so many ways to just, you know, like make it easier. There's just like so many, like in anything, you know, it's just like make it easier. So
well, and what a lot of people don't understand is that willpower, that's a finite resource, right? Like, it's like a muscle that, you know, it fatigues over time. And so if you wake up and you're like, and you swear off drinking, but then you have a crap day, you know, kids are stressing you out, boss is pissing you off, you know, significant other, whatever. Or on the flip side, like you're going to a celebration or something like that, you know, if you're tired, if you've used that willpower throughout the day, when it comes to, you know, at nighttime, when it comes to that 5:30, you know, wine feeding, as I used to say, like, it's just, it's a habit, you know, it's a habit, and our brain is going to default to what's safer. And that's the easier decision. You know, Annie, Grace, who is the head of This Naked Mind, she kind of put it in a way of when people are, you know, up for parole. So the ones in the morning, and there's science that backs this with stats. I don't have it on me, but so the parolees that have their meeting in the morning are more likely to be paroled, as opposed to the ones toward the end of the day when, you know, when the others are tired and, you know, have been making all these decisions. They're going to default to know you're staying in jail. Like it's the safer decision. And there's stats behind that. It's just,
Yeah. Well, they have that. It's just the decision fatigue in general. And it doesn't even
yes,
matter if it's like a big decision, that's what they like the
yes.
Steve Jobs, turtleneck or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
Just like all these little things. And I like, this is a big thing for me because it is, especially when I was really struggling with like my hormones and stuff like that, I literally couldn't get out of the house. You know what I mean? Because I kept trying to figure out like what the best order to do things in. And if I mean, now granted, I've had some complicated like life, situations or whatever,
Life's
but it
gotten
shouldn't,
lifey.
yeah. But I mean, like, when I was living in Vietnam and I had to decide if I was going to go, like to get like a, you know, chicken in 90 degree, like a raw chicken in 90-degree farmers market, or if I wanted to walk on the beach first or just go sit down in the hotel lobby. Like, but because those require different outfits, or whatever. But I mean, it sounded so dumb, but it was just trying to like figure out all these things throughout the day. And it's like, by the time, you're just spent all your cognitive energy and like everything's, so you're just exhausted from it. So that totally makes sense. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about what else is sort of lighting up your life lately? What are you spending your time doing? Hobbies or family stuff or whatever?
Well, I play softball on Sundays and I am hands down the worst hitter on the team,
Nice.
but they keep inviting me back.
Awesome.
Yeah. So no, I love softball. I have been running every day and doing my Peloton sometimes. So I'm really into just kind of working out, doing stuff with my kids. Now I'm fully present with them. So kind of feels like the sky's the limit. And I'm just working on building up my coaching business right now. So I'm home behind a computer a lot also.
Yeah. And what about your lovely husband, Mike?
Oh, my
Tell us
husband.
a
I know I
little
haven't
bit
even
about
mentioned
him.
him.
I know.
Yeah. Jessie knows him from back in the bartending days also.
Sure do.
So so yeah, he's doing great. He's fantastic. And we have, the natural pet supply store, and that's where he spends a lot of his time. So he keeps that afloat, which allows me to be able to do my thing. But yeah, Mike and I, we've been together. Our 10-year wedding anniversary is in 2 weeks. So,
Wow.
and then together for 14. So you've been there through it all.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what was I wasn't there, but I saw a video of it. What was this? What was the song that he did on karaoke? My girl likes to party all the time. Was that it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, on his birthday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that at the Stained Glass Pub?
Oh, probably. I think he's done that a few times actually.
Oh, it's his
yeah.
go-to.
Yeah. It's one of his go-tos. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the store, the Rough House, I have a lot of fond memories from bringing my my little Theo, and I lived
Theodore.
just down the street, and they were next to the Starbucks. So like it was just a perfect thing. What a perfect day for me to go and grab a coffee and then like walk over with Theo into the Rough House so we can get some treats and we can chat and hang out. And
those were really fun. Those were fun days.
Yes. Yep.
He'd wander aimlessly around the store and
yeah. And I would also substitute cashier and stuff there when you guys went on vacation sometimes.
Yes, that's true. You did.
Remarkably similar to working at the bar.
At the bar.
With the way that people come in and want to tell you their life story.
It's it's like one therapy job to another. It was different. You know what the craziest part for me to get used to, like behind that register, was if I owed somebody back like $5, I actually gave a $5 bill instead of counting out 5 ones, for tip. So like say at the store that like their bill is $5
okay, yeah,
and they give me a 10. Right. That was
Yeah.
so hard for me at first because you're so
much
used to
easier.
just thumbing out the
I want you to give
ones.
some of this back to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
Yeah. How
funny.
much of this 5 should I hold on to?
Yeah. I remember that early on in my like restaurant career, because someone actually said to me, they're like, do you not want a tip? Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
I know. I know. You can tell when they know, they know.
Yep. And your 2 little guys are keep you busy. They're big personalities, both of them. They're a lot of fun.
They are.
We used to hang out every once in a while, and we'd have we would hang out often, but like after an hour and a half, I was like, I gotta go home and take a nap.
All done.
Like,
Yep.
Just this is
all
a lot.
It's, I mean, so it's 2 boys within a year, and they are the best of friends and the worst of enemies. I mean, they love hard and they fight hard, as some of my social media videos have shown. Their little kickboxing stunts at each other. But yeah, and Declan, he's really started coming into his own on, like, he's really good at sports. He loves sports, basketball, flag football. And then MJ, he is my little guitar player. He likes flag football and soccer.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. And then
Nice.
Declan is actually home sick from school today. And so he has been sorting out his 1 million Pokey cards that he has, yet he still feels the need to ask me for more, which is a hard no. Hard no. I mean, those Pokey card things, I just can't with those things. No, if anybody else, that's listening,
I'm sure people do. Yeah. What are these things?
It's just like apparently it's like supposed to be a game, but like they trade them. Yeah, they trade them. And I don't know if there's a rhyme or a reason. And then it's like, oh my gosh, that's a V-star. What does that mean? MJ stole my V-star. No, I didn't, Declan. And it's just, yeah.
I think that Pat Flynn has a podcast that's all, like, he's the guy who, I don't know, he's been in the online space for a while or whatever, but he had podcasts from like way back in the day. But he did like a podcast just to see what starting up a whole new podcast would be. And it's just about Pokemon cards or whatever. So
yeah,
it's really, really popular. Like, and I know he makes money off of them, and
it's quite insane. Yeah, Declan asked me today. He's like, so where could I sell these? Can I sell these on eBay? I'm like, you are 6 years old. How do you even know about eBay?
Yeah. I do want to just share a little bit about your baby shower.
Oh God.
Lauren's baby
Hosted
shower for MJ was the first and only baby shower I think I've ever hosted. Co-hosted by probably 3 of the most unlikely people to host a baby shower ever. Everyone had so much fun, except for maybe Lauren. She ended up going into labor at the end of it.
I was carrying all my gifts out because everybody was so drunk playing Cards of Humanity.
Yep. It's like,
it's okay, guys. I got them.
I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard, but I mean, like, getting ready, we had we played cornhole there. I borrowed the boards, and I had another friend draw like the uterus and fallopian tubes, and we spent time making the little sperm sacks. To throw at them, and like, it was great. It was so much booze. There's so much alcohol there.
So much alcohol. Like, one of the little like inflatable rubber ducks for his bath was like the cooler.
Yeah. There was 2 of them. You got one, and then I kept the other one to give Theo a bath in.
And the ranch fountain. Ranch fountain.
It's great. That is honestly the best baby shower I've ever been to.
That was amazing. Amazing. Yeah, somebody turned the ranch fountain to, like, instead of turning it cold, they turned it hot. I think it was Jessica, and it just started like melting.
sputtering
So
out,
gross.
shooting
Yes.
ranch around the room.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good
Oh
times.
my
Good
God.
times.
That was so fun. Yeah. Thank you for that.
So
Oh
good.
God.
Okay. Well, we'll get to know more about you as we go along. Feel free to, uh, share any stories you like.
Oh, I will.
All right. I'm going to do a little update, and that's been a lot of the show has just been like updates, but like men spot for now. And I'm like, one of the updates is I'm feeling like fucking amazing. So that's, my life is a mess, but I don't really care. Oh, I can figure it out now. Whatever. It just
Yep.
makes for one interesting story after another. But we came back from Mexico sort of abruptly and in like a little bit earlier than we were supposed to. So we're back at my mom's place, and like it's been just getting settled back in. Like we were gone for 6 months, so like trying to get whatever, just replenishing like supplements and stuff like that. But then like in the last week I've been to the dentist, the chiropractor, and the gynecologist. The neighbor, like the day after we got back, had just waited too long for something, and we had to my mom had to take him to the emergency room. She adopted a new dog, so there was a whole who was but kept in a car and pretty fearful. So there was some there was a warm-up period with them. My sister bought a house, so we've been like moving her. I'm like trying to launch my new program, and I mean it's just been insane. Like I haven't even like told the rest of my family that I was back yet, because there's just no time.
There's no time.
Yeah, and my mom's going to be like taken off for 2 weeks to go visit my uncle. So, getting things squared away with her, but it was amazing because I had like 3 really good doctor's appointments in a row, like where I went there and it was like less than what I thought it was, and like also the doctors were really helpful.
Wow.
I know.
Bizarro
And like
world.
that's right. It was like amazing. So I have a history of clenching my jaw. I went through a period of like significant stress, and like it got bad again, and I got most of my amalgam fillings replaced with zirconia because I broke the amalgams from all the jaw clenching.
Mm.
And so I thought I had broken like a part of my tooth, and if I had broken zirconia, then we were really going to be in trouble. But it was just the bite was never properly adjusted. So I went into this new dentist. I'm expecting she's going to want to do like a root canal, all this stuff, and I got to tell her no with that. And I'm like, maybe I'm going to get like an extraction and whatever. And I'm just like, ugh. But she was like, I think she's like the tooth. They did a 3D X-ray. She was so nice, and like, she's like, it doesn't look like there's any sort of like decay or anything like that, or like the tooth is like alive, the sinuses look good. Like she's like, there's some composite on the side that I think is what broke off, but also the bite was never adjusted. So like that's what's been like, as I clench my jaw and stuff like that, that's what's just been continuously causing me all this issue. So she just sort of grinded it down, and it's like a whole new mouth.
And better? Wow.
Yeah. Like, I mean, so the tooth, she's like, it's going to take a little while because the tooth is bruised. So I didn't know that was like a thing you could do. But
I did not know that. You can bruise your teeth. Good job,
bruise
Jess.
your teeth. I'm
Leave
gonna
it to you.
If anybody can bruise their teeth, it's going to be me.
So dramatic.
Yeah. So, and also like we've been bouncing around all over the place. So it's like a dentist in Mexico, one in Costa Rica, like a couple in Florida. I've got her, we're trying to like centrally locate all the, regular doctors and stuff just to this area since we keep coming back here.
Right.
But, so then, I got a nice little adjustment. I started going to the joint chiropractic and I love it. Like you can get like the membership super affordable. They're not trying to like they've just all been, I've seen a bunch of different ones there. They all seem to be trained the same. And like I've left feeling better every single time. And so it's not close
That's
enough to here,
amazing.
but yeah. And then you can buy visits and go to any one. So
That
that's
helps.
super amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'll give you like so one of the other things happened.
Check that one off and
Yeah.
next.
So there was the hysterectomy, all the hormone stuff, then the hip injury, a little bit more hormone stuff, and then I had a little bit of bleeding, and when I was in Mexico, and when that happened right after my surgery, it was because I pulled a stitch, and my surgeon was like, "Nothing's supposed to be coming out of there," like just so you know.
Yeah.
So I had and like a friend of mine ended up getting her vaginal cuff came apart and she became like septic, like abdominal fluid coming out and everything. And like I would do anything to unhear this story because it is
So you're going to tell all of us?
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks. So we can all not unhear it.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? But it's something that made me be very like thoughtful about my recovery. So like others should as well. And
what is a vaginal cuff?
So that is, thank you for that's why other people need to be
like
on the
I've never heard
podcast
this
with
before.
me. So it's just where they like sew your vagina together when they take the cervix off. I'm like, no big deal.
That's all? Oh, it's just that. God, that sounds awful. It sounds like, no thanks.
Well, yeah.
It happens though. Yep.
Yeah.
I get it.
So there was a little bit of blood. So I'm in Mexico and I'm and also like I got really dizzy and like nauseous, and that happened too when I pulled a stitch. So I was freaking out that it had come open. I had seen a gynecologist there to do a checkup at one point, and I saw her back in 2021 and she was great too. But like it was Friday night, so she wasn't responding to my messages. And I kept getting like, I was like, well, maybe it's okay, because last time I just like laid down and didn't move for a while and I healed back up. But then we tried to go somewhere and I was sitting at a table and all of a sudden like everything moved. And I had to grab onto the table and I was like, we gotta go. Like, we gotta go to the emergency room. Like so we end up going to one emergency room. Like we got to take a cab on a Friday night. like, so I have to use my Espanol, and then we get there and they were like, it's going to be like at least 2 hours. Meanwhile, I'm like, I could be like just
bleeding out here.
Open,
yeah.
Like who knows what's going to come out of here? I don't know.
2 hours. Good
yeah.
Lord.
So to even like be triaged, you know what I mean? And so there was another hospital down the street that was like the, most expensive hospital in Playa, but it's more like tourist, oriented or whatever. But like it was dark by that time and we were on the freeway and there was no cabs. So I'm like periodically dizzy. We're walking down the freeway and then and we had to cross it at some point. And then like when we got across, there was like no shoulder there. So we're like running along the wall until we could get out. I mean, it was
oh my God.
And we're like standing in the median. At one point I got really dizzy and I had to like just grab onto Justin. It was nuts. So anyway, we got there. The hospital was great, really fast. Like they triaged me really quick. And then the gynecologist on call happened to be there for like a labor. So I was able to see her right away. And she very quickly, she got in there and she said that I had a granuloma. So it's happens. Of course, I had to look it up, see what the statistics are, but it happens in about 6% of vaginal cuff. So it's just the like when you're healing, it's like the white cells or whatever kind of form like a little clump of tissue, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And now she gave me this prescription that was it was called Triticum vulgare or whatever, but it was like wheat germ oil suppositories. So I don't know if those really did anything. I mean, I guess it's moisturizing, but
yeah.
So anyway,
wow.
yeah. But then I was like fine after that, and then I came back and went to the gynecologist here. It does the granuloma has like dissolved, but there, of course, the dissolving stitches don't necessarily, my body's like, what is that? So it hasn't dissolved. My body just
Get
sort
out of
of
here.
like decided to attack it. When I had my laparotomy, which was my second surgery, they where the scar is like a C-section scar, there was something, I thought it was like an ingrown hair for years, and it would like periodically get irritated, and I would screw with it, and then it would get infected and whatever, and then it would like calm down and then come back. One time I finally pulled something out of there, and it was just like the little stitch with a knot. Yeah.
Oh
That my body
my
had just been
Lord.
like fighting for years to just like
Get out. Wow. How many
yeah.
years was that?
I mean, I think like 3 or 4. It was crazy.
Jeez.
Yep. And so there's one just the end of my vagina now. But she said like everything's like healed beautifully, but like she gave me like a vaginal estrogen cream to put on it like every day for a month, and she thinks that should like help it. So and then I'll go back and see her. But then of course they tell me at reception she's taking a year-long sabbatical. I'm like, I love it when I find a doctor that's awesome, and they're
so convenient.
Yeah.
It's like good for her.
But we went over my well, at one point I want to do a whole thing about vaginal estrogen cream too, but there was something I saw, there was like a paper shared, and then a lady commented something about, I don't know if it was on the paper or like a individual's response, that she was like in her 70s and started using it, and and was told she had like like the vagina of a 35-year-old.
How do you even compare them? Like, can you just look at a vagina and be like, kind of like a tree, like how many, circles and stuff? Oh, you are this old.
I mean, I'm sure if you look at enough of them, you can start to tell.
You can probably get it within 5-10 years. Yeah.
But we also went over my hormone regimen. So at some point I'll probably do like like a whole thing about, because I take all of the hormones and like my experience getting to the right dose and delivery method for each. But one thing, since I had the oophorectomy, which is where the bilateral sapolingo or whatever oophorectomy is, where they take out both ovaries and the fallopian tubes. I need more estrogen than someone generally would that was going through like a natural menopause. So at one point I ran out of like the Divi gel that I was using that was like a little higher concentration. But so I was using that plus 1 pump of this like oestrogel, but I ran out of the Divi gel, and like in order to get to the like same places like symptom relief, I was putting like a pump on both arms and both legs, and then at night, and then in the morning another pump
wow,
on like an arm, and then I put my testosterone gel on my leg, and I'm just covered in goo, and like I'm living in Mexico, so all day long I'm just slathering like sunscreen on and bug spray, and then I wipe that off. I like scrub my skin, and then I put on all the goo every morning, and it was wild. So anyway, she is going to look into a compounding pharmacy to see if they can come up with something that I can use like less. Like where I am right now is okay, but it is like the Divi gel is it just stays like tacky. And if we go and visit like Justin's family and stuff like that, I just can't necessarily like walk around without pants on.
What? No?
For the evening. No, I mean, I guess I could, but I get a little awkward.
I like to see what would happen. Never say can't.
Right. So I'm like, what else? I think that's a lot.
Intense. So is that kind of what you meant by like once you figure out delivery method and stuff too, as in terms of like if it's topical and whatnot?
So it's I'm not gonna lie, like and listen, for me the hormones have like made my life so much better. If I had to, I won't even say anything. I was like, I was going to say something weird, but I'll save it. But it's worth it to do it. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't like it to be easier. But there will be, for a lot of people, it'll take some trying to figure out the right dose. And like as your hormones change from early to late perimenopause and into menopause, like the dose will need to be adjusted probably in a few things. But there are, pills, there's gels, there's patches. As far as what's available, like the FDA approved, but to me, it's still been very much worth it. So,
right.
And each method has its like, ups and downs and stuff like that. So the patch, I mean, I would love it if the patch would work because it's like, they have ones that you change twice a week, once a week, or I think some last like 2 weeks, but like the adhesive, my skin was just like not having it. Even spraying it with like hydrocortisone cream before I put the patch on didn't help. And then it would I would have like the red bumps like weeks after I moved the patch from that spot. But I'm very much my body is like a little princess in the pea situation. My body's like, what is that? I hate
it. Not for me.
I know.
Princess in pea.
Yeah. Yep.
That's great. One thing, and this might be a topic for a different episode, but one of my friends that I have been like that I met in my training, she is really focused on, I think she's in her 40s. I don't know exactly how old she is, but she's really focused on like seed cycling, like knowing, like when your cycle is and, how that deals with perimenopause and how, and she does a lot of videos on it, and it's something that's like really interesting to me, but I don't know anything about it. So I'm kind of excited to.
Yeah, that's something, because then, I have looked into it.
Of course you have. Of course you have.
And that's something that's been used and recommended for a long time. There's a lot of like anecdotal evidence that it works for a lot of people and they feel better with it. So I don't know that it's something that they would be able to like necessarily scientifically like validate, but there's a logical premise behind it in that the seeds that are prescribed throughout your different phases are meant to support like specific hormones and those support those like specific phases of your menstrual cycle. I mean, and at the end of the day, like you're getting a lot of vitamins and minerals and fiber So
I mean,
it's,
she
you know,
says
you can't do anything but win with that. I like
it's, and it's kind of like one of those things where the proof is in the pudding, because I mean,
or
she,
is it in the porno?
or is it the, probably that one too. Yeah.
Sorry.
But she, I mean, her videos are like on point, it shows her like exercising and just saying how good she feels, and
Yeah.
kind of coming from a place of she didn't feel as good,
Right.
and so I just think it's so interesting that, like, you know you get out of it what you put into your body,
Right.
at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
there's just so much good info to know that, like, so many people just aren't, that's just not aware.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah. And that's one of those things, I mean, it's not necessarily going to be like that, like the end all be all for everyone. But I think that it certainly it has been the right answer for a lot of people. And it makes
mhm,
sense of why that is. Um, I did try to do that. I mean, I had like a lot of stuff going on. A lot of the things I had going on too were as a result of like prior surgeries and stuff like that. So like even making my cycles more normal actually just
mhm,
caused me more pain. So,
right.
but I was trying to do that for a while. I can't eat, pumpkin seeds are not,
Oh, boo.
yeah. But there's different seeds you can, I mean, and that'll be the case with like a lot of people. Like I am good with flax seeds, like not so much with the chia. But there
What
are always like,
happens? Like, what, I mean, how do you know?
oh, it just gives me like stomach cramps.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess
And
I've
it's
never
weird
made
because
that
it's,
correlation.
yeah. Well, most like
But I'm not Jessie.
it's happening. Super sensitive, very sensitive. Um, so,
Princess and the Pea.
yep. Um, but I mean, there's just so many things, and like that's just one example of like, like there's so much you can just take back to nutrition. Like, yes, the hormones have helped me, like amazing, but I had like everything else like really dialed in
Mhm.
um, beforehand, and what I couldn't, I didn't have the capacity for once I felt better. Like, I built on that by like, you know, supporting my diet and my movement and my sleep
Right.
as best I could. So but I mean, so many people, it's like they want to talk about what, like what they need to restrict and what they need to do harder and blah blah blah, and it's just like just eat food, eat the food that like has the
Right.
nutrients. People they
Right.
can be eating like tons of calories. A lot of women particularly aren't, like they just have slow metabolisms because they've like dialed back. I mean, it's hard to get the nutrients you need. um it can be a challenge in 2000 calories, and you've
Mhm.
got so many women eating, like 16, 14,000, like 1,000 calories from food and then some wine. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um and so like you've got to give your body the micronutrients, the minerals and the vitamins and stuff to actually support um the mechanisms, the chemical mechanisms that make your body work.
Mhm.
And like the side effects end up being, what your main goals were if you
Right.
actually like take care of your overall health. So
Right.
um that's what um like I'm putting together. My program is going to be called your estrogen evolution.
I love that. Love that. What?
Yeah, I mean, because it's like it feels like I didn't even think about this going um you know into it before, like, because now that I'm in menopause or whatever, it's just like it just feels different. I think that I want people to have like a different perspective on like what the rest of their life is going to be like. I mean, you think about it, it's like um very easily, if you're lucky and like proactive, could be more than half of your life, like in
Mhm.
post menopause.
Right.
um it's a big deal. And like, there's such a like ease that can come to life when you're not in this fucking cycle, you know,
Yeah.
like just dealing with these hormones all the time. Like it's just a shift in like you know, and you're in a different phase of life and stuff too. If for people, you know, for normal people, for the normies that have had children and whatever. Um, but, um, but it's like something that I think so many people feel bad about, or they're dreading, or like they're trying to
Hmm.
fight it or whatever, where I'm just trying to like, you know, go at it
It's
like
common. Like,
this is
how do
about to
we?
be the best part of my life. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like cuz it's like there's so many things that I have like figured out, and I'm sure life will find it's a way to like humble me over and over again. But I feel like I keep getting smarter because there's a lot of stuff out there about perimenopause and menopause now, and I was wondering, is there too much out there? Is there even room for like a why, you know, is everything, has everything been covered? Is everybody like up to speed on everything?
Hmm.
But what there is a lot of like dogmatic um, programs about what maybe worked for one person, and so they think that it will work for everyone. Um, a lot of it is sort of short-sighted, I think, in its goals, and
Hmm.
like not looking necessarily toward like the long-term future. Um, and your happiness and health going forward. A lot of like health obstacles, you know, or answers come in like a Venn diagram. You
Right.
know, there's not just like this formula to like lose weight, or
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
one to like deal with hot flashes or whatever. So, um, and I just talked to another friend a couple days ago. This is the second doctor she went to try and get like help. She's in later perimenopause. And the doctor like straight up just told her she wouldn't give her the HRT until she like wanted to put her on birth control, which that can be an option for people, and I don't have a problem with that. Um, would not give her the HRT, only offered her this birth control that had iron in it, that she
Mm.
didn't even have that conversation with her. So like could, you know, cause constipation, didn't check her iron levels. Like as you're bleeding less, you know, iron
Right.
overload can become an issue. So that doesn't make
Absolutely.
any sense. Um and then so then she's gonna have to go off this pill and and you know, figure
Have
out
to
where she lands, and
readjust. Yeah.
then go on. And you know, that could be an answer that works for some people, but she would not do what my friend wanted to do.
Oh,
And
it's
my friend was
awful.
using the term bioidentical hormones, and so that triggered her to think the stuff that's you know, made at the compounding pharmacies that was available all this time when doctors weren't prescribing HRT. But what she meant was the like chemically similar or chemically identical hormones that are the FDA um, uh, and mostly standard of care right now. So they have the same chemical structure as the estradiol in your body. Micronized progesterone has the same chemical structure as the progesterone your body produces. And these are at like hormone levels that are physiologically like normal, like what your body would normally produce
Hmm.
prior to menopause. So it's
What
just
does what does HRT stand for?
hormone replacement therapy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So the thing is for these symptoms, um, HRT is the first line of treatment, meaning that is the first thing that like doctors are supposed to go to. Not birth control for I'm pretty sure birth control for like menopause, perimenopause symptoms is off-label use. I know the SSRIs are, so that's a common, what a lot of women end up getting. That was the first doctor tried to give her an SSRI, which is an off-label use and can help some people, but it's not the first line therapy. It's not more effective than the actual hormones.
So what do you think is the issue? Like, why are these doctors doing that first? Not doing that first.
This is, how it's interesting when with your social media algorithms or whatever, it's like you start to think that that everybody has the same information that you do.
I know. I'm like, whoa, nobody drinks.
and so this was another thing that like I thought, I was like, maybe no one needs this, because maybe everybody's up to speed, because this is all I'm seeing. But this is, I'm looking, and she even, like, my friend even followed a lot of the same people, but I'm reading research papers and whatever. But anyway, the reason why the doctors are not prescribing this first line therapy is because of a study called the WHI in the early 2000s, where it was stopped because the results were like some of the findings were like really overblown, and this is where this like fear of breast cancer came from HRT, and it caused 75% of women to like the doctors stopped their prescriptions or they went off them. And this had
one
huge
report.
Yes. And it was a lot of the way the media covered it. There's a lot of like the way you read statistics, the way they can be, if you either look at the absolute or the relative risk, so like it's basically, it's like a 50% increased risk, or the risk went from 1 person to 2 people in 1,000. So that's a 50% relative increased risk. But when you look at the big picture, it's not, anything, especially in comparison to things like drinking wine every day or any other of the most commonly prescribed drugs that nobody even thinks twice about. So the doctors are not up to speed on it. It's crazy. I mean, the North American Menopause Society put out their position statement on HRT from 2022, and it still hasn't, like, the fact that there's still doctors, when, like, after my hysterectomy, my surgeon, very skilled surgeon, he had me go off my transdermal estrogen as a precaution, but like the transdermal has not been found to increase your risk of blood clots at all. He wanted me to wait for 2 weeks after the surgery to go back on it. And I was like, 2 weeks? He was like, all right, 1 week. But it was like 3 days. I was in so much pain, like joint, body aches, hot flashes. Like, I'm trying to heal from like a massive surgery, and I got my body's just like, it was crazy. And then the patch I was on was the lowest dose, and I needed to be on the highest dose plus, you know what I mean? So I had a brutal recovery. It wasn't until like that follow-up at like 30 days that I was like, I started cutting like another patch in half, and I was wearing like a patch and a half. And I was like, I'm having palpitations all the time, all this stuff. And he was like, oh, oh shit. So he gave me the highest dose of the Divi gel at that point. And even at that point, I asked him about the vaginal estrogen cream. He was like, oh, you won't need that for a long time. And it's crazy, because this is something that, like, start it now, like, start it now to keep all those tissues, because it affects your bladder. Like, this is, you get into your 60s and 70s or whatever, like, or later on, you get a UTI, and that's what takes you out,
Oh, God.
Or even just not even that severe, but you just get these frequent UTIs, and it's so uncomfortable. but I mean, it helps to keep all the muscles of the like pelvic floor healthy, and it's just,
That's crazy. You know,
it's
it
wild.
reminds me, I'm going to go off of humans for a second, but like it reminds me of when, you know, being in the pet industry, when an article, like when the FDA came out and said that grain-free dog food is killing pets. You know, it's
Oh my
causing
God.
this DCM. And so, hey, get off this grain-free dog food, but come on to the food that I sell that has corn and byproduct and, you know, everything. And people reacted like it was gospel because it was the FDA. And
Right.
then there was media coverage on it. And then, but the real facts weren't presented, and it just created this frenzy and this uneducation, really.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that reminds me a lot of it's you can really be controlled by the information that's put out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's like, it's unfortunate, but you just can't, you have to know enough to be able to like advocate for yourself. You can't, I
Right.
mean, in most situations, going to a doctor, you can't just show up and just do whatever they, you know what I mean? Because they don't have the time to like do it all.
Hmm.
And they're human, you know? I mean, it's just some of them are going to be amazing, some of them are not. Some of them are, the amazing ones will have bad days, and they just, you know, miss something. So
Right.
that's why, I mean, I've just had to go through so many like doctor's appointments and stuff, like, you know, go with a list, make sure you get every question answered. You know, if you feel like shit after you leave your doctor, get another doctor, you know.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so I think too, I start to wonder what the future of like primary care. I'm hoping with like AI and stuff, because a lot of the standard of care is like the if this then that, like if the lab showed this,
Hmm.
then look at that, and then, or if the symptoms align with this, and you know. So um not that like a human shouldn't double check these things, but I just hope that it starts to take away a lot of the inefficient part of like being a doctor, so that they actually can start to be more primary care, spend more time with you. um you know, if you need specialists, they are like dealing with the specialists, unless the specialist needs to like palpate you or something.
Hmm.
And so that all of these, so you're not going to all these specialists and getting, you know, like con, like care that contradicts, you know,
Right.
other. My dad was on like 17 different medications. It's crazy. Like, no, there's
Well,
no double blind randomized control for its mix of
right.
17 different, I mean, it's nuts. And just to make it easier for the, you know, the stress of just going through the medical system itself is enough to cause chronic disease.
Absolutely. I mean, because people see doctors as like this authority figure who, you know, who knows all, who should know all, you know.
Hmm.
And I mean, you're exactly right. Like, come with a checklist, you know, and be your own advocate. You know, it is hard. I will play devil's advocate on that one for 1 second, because like I don't know even as close to the amount that you do in terms of, you know, medical. So when I do go to my doctor, I hope that, you know, it's like I trust them, and I have
Right.
been screwed, you know, I
Hmm.
have. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it's just advocate for yourself, and just know, you know, just do your research. Like,
Right. Well, and that's what I mean. A lot of it. So, like, I'm putting the program together so that it gives you like enough, because, like, you know, not everybody needs to know what I know. I mean, um, I'm looking at research papers where, like, I what did I get into? I found the research paper where it's human women and like a couple of toothed whales are the only ones to have any kind of lifespan after menopause. Like, the rest of animals just die after menopause. Like,
wow.
so there's something, you know, like we got to work something out here, I think.
Something's
Like,
going on. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway,
And a toothed whale.
I'm looking at this in a large, really like,
Right?
looking at the complexities of life here. But anyway, I mean, so I'm trying to lay it out for like understanding, the baseline of what you should know about your body, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, like it should be a partnership with your doctor or anybody that you're working with, because
Right.
you are the expert in nobody's going to know your body like you know your body.
Right.
And so it needs to be a conversation. And people need to know that like that is your doctor that's there to work for you,
Mm-hmm.
not that you're going to bully them into doing anything. And certainly, um, you know, doctors know way more than I do about a lot of things, but they don't know my body better than I do.
Right.
Um, and
Exactly.
so I try to lay it out so that the information, like just of from, I'm going to take it from peri to post and all the menopause in between, like just so you have like a plan, there's all these
Mm-hmm.
things out there like intermittent fast or like hit training or, somatic something or whatever, no two women are going to have the same like menopausal transition.
Mm-hmm.
They're not coming from the same place. There's a lot of things that, a lot of us are having in common, but, my goal is to give women like the knowledge to have the confidence to make the best decision for them and
Yep.
know what they have access to. And so that they can try one thing, and if that doesn't work they can try something else, and they can have
Mm-hmm.
like the right conversations with the right people, and not have to suffer for like 10 years, I
Right.
mean, and then just be like getting weaker and frailer and um
Yeah.
through life. It's a
No,
big
that's good.
deal. I'm excited about the program. I'm going to be doing like a beta launch. And then like those people are going to get more like one-on-one, attention, like closer to one-on-one attention, for like the price of like our self-paced
Mm-hmm.
course. Um, and, and then I'm just going to build it out from there. I want to, make sure that people are getting the results that they want. And then I'm going to kind of build it up from there. So that's a pretty big undertaking. But I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
I mean,
cool.
I think that I've lived a lot of life so that I can, I've had these challenges so I
Share
can
it.
help other people. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So what is, next for you? What are you excited about coming up here?
Well, I went to it was so much fun last night. I went to the speed networking event. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like speed dating, but it was speed networking.
Yeah.
So it was so cool because for what I do, nobody wants to sit here and hear somebody like, oh, they're going to talk about this about alcohol, but I was able to get in front of different people and just be like, you know what, I'm just here to create awareness. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I made a lot of good contacts there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm just really excited to just get the word out, really,
Yeah.
and we have another speed networking in a couple weeks, a little north of me. So
Yeah.
just kind of getting the word out. And like I said, I'm doing some coaching and some classes with this Naked Mind, but I'm also just really pumped that my one-on-one has taken off. So
Yeah.
I just love it. I'll
Awesome.
do this
Congratulations
for
on
the
that.
rest of my life.
Yay. Awesome. Do you guys have any like summer vacation plans or?
Yeah. So, well, we're going to go back to Kansas City where I'm
Mm-hmm.
originally from. So we're going to go see Nana and Papa in
Mm-hmm.
August. But June, the boys, they are in summer camp, but they love the summer camp, luckily, because they
Yeah.
go on lots of like field trips. So we're like, I'm in Parkland, which is, near Fort Lauderdale. So like they'll go up to Palm Beach, they'll go down to Miami, and
Oh, so is it like a day camp or are they like?
It's like so yeah, it's not like a sleepaway, it's a day camp. So
okay. I was like, they're
yeah.
going to be gone the whole month of June.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God. One day, Jesse.
There's got
One
to be
day.
some sort of like, work camp or whatever you can send them off
Sleepaway.
to.
Oh man. From your lips to God's ears. I'll find one of these days.
Speaking of character building experiences. No.
Right? Right? Oh my God.
That's great. Awesome. Yeah, I think we're just sort of up in the air at this point, so I don't know what our next
To be
adventure
continued.
will be. Yeah. We'll be doing some probably traveling around the Midwest, as we usually do.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, just back in old New Baltimore, just around the corner from my old high school, and
There you go.
all those interesting memories. So,
Good old high school.
All right. Well, I think we did it here. 1 hour.
Woohoo.
Ish. Yeah. Ish. Let's see. I think I got everything. Anything else you want to add for now?
Not off the top of my head.
All right.
Nope.
All right. I think next time we're going to have like a topic. We're not going to be catching up. We're going to have like a topic. And then also, if there's anybody that you want to interview at any point, I want to kind of I have a few ideas for other people to get on for interviews and
perfect
whatnot.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Other 40 somethings. So, all right. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Yeah.